how endlessly we go campaigning. Nights on end we don't sleep. And on the eve of the elections, and even the day of it, we just glue ourselves to the televisions, just what's going to happen. And when our candidate pushes through, think of how we jump for joy. We forget that for days on end, we've not gone or done the sleep. The joy of knowing He's there! We don't know what's upon His heart and what kind of leader he or she is going to be. But the very fact that we've got what we wanted just thrills us. It's not bad joy, especially if your leader is going to turn out the kind of person you want him or her to be. Those of you who read Daily Bread will remember perhaps having read the story of a grandmother giving an impact statement after a teenage young fellow had killed inadvertently her own grandchild through careless driving. And in giving that impact statement, she said, "There are some things we say and do which we regret having said and done. And we carry grudges and unforgiveness upon our hearts, which eat us up until or unless we give them over." And looking at the person who had killed her own grandchild, she said, "I forgive you for what you did, and I hope you'll find it in your heart to forgive yourself." Sometimes the most difficult of things is to forgive ourselves for the wrong that we have done. But what this grandmother pronounced on this murderer, I don't know what effect it had upon him. The writer doesn't say anything. But you can imagine what sense of relief must have come upon him. You are forgiven. Forgive yourself. And don't let grudges and unforgiveness characterize your life. Jump for joy by inference. Best of all, according to the text that we have read, we bring our attention to this being called Jesus. He is not elected. He is God. He is born to serve. And yet he is to be a servant leader who should soon be the coming world emperor. Who knows how to make weakness become strength, failure, success, shame, honor, and how to turn a cradle, pass through a cross, and become a crown, and how to make death become life. Can we come to him and sense that he brings us hope, he brings us peace, he brings us joy, and before long we'll be seeing he brings us love in the Lord Jesus Christ, and yet before long miserable, sad, pathetic? No. It's a joyous realization that there is one who, as we said, has come to help us. And we went on to realize we can harbor in him. And then we saw in the course of last week, he has shown us how to go very low in order, as we see this week, that God may be the one who exalts us. And notice, in doing that, this Christ has been conceived of a woman, so he hallows womanhood. He is born as a baby, so birth is God-given. Childhood, God's Son passes through, it's honored too. But look at how he honors humanhood. Not just motherhood, not just fatherhood, but complete humanhood, because he associates, identifies himself with that and becomes fully human himself. But it is for this very reason that as we see him exalted, we may be drawn to him. If we are not his, or we may become his, and if we are his, that we may become better as his. In our responsive reading, he said that we may go and share him to everybody. That if we've never been stirred, there might be a stirring within us, not to keep Jesus in, but to bring him out. Because if he stayed in heaven, he would be meaningless and useless to us. But it's because he came that now we value him. So if we keep him in our hearts, he is useful to us, but useless to the next person. So he needs to warm us up enough to say with Isaiah, I felt like shutting up, but your word was to me like a fire locked up in my bones. And indeed it was burned like bubbling or boiling water. And the only way I could find release was to take it out. And we will be that if we see him exalted enough in the various offices that are pointed out here. Jesus is presented to us, first of all, in his royalty. For we are told he will be born of Mary and Joseph, both of whom have a royal lineage. David was the sweetest and greatest king of all Israel. Saul was a pathetic loser. David had failures that he overcame and became really devoted, about whom God would say, a man after my own heart, who will do all my will. The wise Solomon misused his wisdom. So no king stands out as wonderful, as marvelous as David, because God thrilled in the man. And we are told this Christ child, born in a manger, has actually royal blood in him. In a manger, and no room for him in the inn? Yes, because he wants to show us that before exaltation, there must be humiliation. One of the things that kills us as human beings is our ego, our pride. Because the moment that is injured, our reactions are from violence to anything else that you may name it, because we want to show we're hurt. But look at how humbly God's Son receives it. He who sits on the praises of Israel, who he is adored by angels, he to whom the totality of creation looks, he comes, who created as a creature and is born in a manger, to a maid, a young woman, an ordinary woman called Mary. Now there's no question, there's no doubt, he's of royal blood. And the promise of God, it may not be immediate, but you're in line to the throne. I don't know what experiences you're going through that make us feel, even my parents don't care about me. Look at my friends have done to me. There are some things that are inexplicable that we go through. How can you explain God's Son being born in a manger and the stench all around him when he comes from a place where the streets are of gold, the thrones of diamond, and such stones as are expensive? No stench. If there is a scent there, it must be glorious. But now, the perfume he has is cowpea. and hay for his bed. For I suppose in the swaddling clothes that he wears, there must be grass down there for he to be a little comfortable. And we say he's royal? Yes, he is. But that's an exaltation. When God says to him, you will be king, then he will be king. And those of us who have come to believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, God says to each one of us, we shall reign with him, co-heirs with the Father and with his Son. That's a promise, and God does not break his promise. All right, he who is royal is yet something else, for we are told, you shall call his name Jesus. And Jesus simply means Savior. And see how personal it is. You shall call. And look at the sense of perception. You shall call his name. And look at the profoundness. Jesus. So the whole thing is growing. It's a revelation to this particular individual. You realize it. You accept it. You understand it. You be it. You shall call his name Jesus. You may be the mother, but he must save you. I don't know how many of us seated here can actually humbly say, yes, it's not just a name. It's come to me. Me, you, Emmanuel, shall call his name Jesus. You, Mutale, shall call his name Jesus. You shall. When did it hit me like that? And how much does it weave its way through me and come with that impact that simply says, this is no ordinary being. This royal figure is my Savior. You shall call. You may think of that instance when Jesus says to his disciples, who do the people say that I am? And they bring out all sorts of names. Then he pauses and says, but who do you say that I am? Everybody else may think this and think that, but you, who do you say that I am? Who do you say Jesus is? You. Who do you say he is to you? That's what counts. Oh, it's holiday season, it's Christmas time, let's enjoy. Yes, do that. But in the midst of all of it, who do you say Jesus is to you? And Mary is told, you shall perceive he is your and other Savior. This Lord is your. Oh, that God might reveal this to me the way he wants and do it for you as well. He is royal, he is a Savior. But notice his actual exaltation. He will be the Son of the Most High. This Holy One who is going to be born in you will be called the Son of God. Can any office be higher than that? What? Look at the way he's entered the world. Yes, it may look like a still, small voice, but behind that voice is the glorious working of a God who, if he thundered, he will destroy. So he steels himself. He is quiet in his love, and he wants to care and not to kill. If that doesn't arrest your heart, I don't know what will. He is God. Who is higher than God? He is King. lies beyond that throne. Everybody stoops to that one. He is supreme, superior, sublime, everything you can talk about that speaks of his supernatural nature. Should I resist him? Should you? That would be the most fatal mistake we make. What should we do? Receive his blessing, for it ends with his eternal proclamation of the reign of his kingdom. There will be no end. Eternal. Why do I go to a hospital when I'm ill? I want to live on. Why do we eat? We want to perpetuate life. But he is the bread of life, for Bethlehem is the house of bread. He is Jesus, God with us. So his life itself. He is the eternal of the reign of his kingdom. Will be no end. That baby in Bethlehem, who's brought us hope and joy, now about whom we can rejoice, this is the best of joy. I will live in him forever. Now where is he in my heart? Where is he in your life? Where is he?